This is my 1960 Impala that my father gave me in 2005, and it's pretty much been sitting in somewhere here or there since then. It's been sitting here. You can tell I've got some weeds growing up. It's spring now of 2019, so for 14 years it's been sitting around. When my dad gave it to me in 05, that's when the Vortec head craze was, really going strong. This had the original 283 in it, which I had the bright idea of putting Vortec heads on it and an overdrive transmission, a 204R. Well, I did the head swap, got it all put together. I put a little comp camshaft in it, little XE, the smallest extreme camshaft that they have. I had to look it up. Put it all together and it ran, started up, and then it started running horrible. Like it was getting too much gas. Well, I figured out what I had done was that by putting the Vortec heads on it, I dropped the compression ratio way too much. The engine had lost a lot of vacuum, and so what was happening as the choke closed off or opened up on the carburetor, that the power valve was opening up and allowing way too much gas to get into the engine, so it was running really rich at idle. Well, I went ahead and pulled the Vortec heads back off, sent them off to get shaved, put some steel shim head gaskets on it, put the Vortec heads back on, and that was probably, I would say, in 2006 sometime. Tried upgrading some wiring underneath the hood, so I was running off of relays and different things for the headlights, and I really haven't done anything to it since. I did some sanding on it. If you look at the hood, it's a different color than the fenders. This car came from Iowa, so it has a lot of rust in it. A lot of rust. The rockers are completely rusted out. The floorboard is completely rusted out. I think that I'm going to paint on the back here. I don't plan on doing any rust repair to it. But across the back here, I'm going to paint Tin Roof Rusted. That's that line from the Love Shack song by the B-52s. That gas tank sitting up here is from a 94, 95, 96 Impala SS. I was thinking about dropping that in here. Get rid of the old gas tank. She's good and straight, just rusty. It is a 4-door, so it's not that desirable. Let me move this trash can. When I got the car, I got these wheels and tires. Scored a real good deal off of eBay, when you could still score some deals off of eBay. Those were brand new Nito 555s, I believe. And since it's just been sitting around, again, for 14 years, and those have gone to waste, which is a waste. I have an Impala SS, the same car that I got the gas tank from. I've got the seats, so I'm thinking about step back and see if any wasps come out. Some ants, some stuff that I've been fooling around and tinkering with it here and there. Don't you love that steering wheel? That is one of the prettiest steering wheels that Chevrolet has ever made. There's nothing else like it, I think. But she's rusty. But anyhow, I think I'm going to put those Impala SS seats in here. I'm probably going to have to do some work on the floorboard. I don't think these are original seats. I think somebody at one time tried starting to restore this car. She's solid, shut solid. As I was saying, I was trying to do some wiring upgrades under the hood. I never finished that. I was trying to get it to where, let's get ready to run. If some wasps run out of here, find where my, here it is. No wasps. Some mud daubers on my alternator there. Get rid of that. Don't need that on there. Got some late model valve covers to go on them Vortec heads. I've got headers for this car, some ceramic coat headers, but they I don't know if it's because of the Vortec heads. The ports on the exhaust ports are a little bit different, but the with these Vortec heads, the headers were hitting the frame. I really like to upgrade the brakes on this. The brakes weren't all that good when my dad gave it to me. I think this is just sitting here. Oop, there's the wasp. Stuck my head right on them. Whew, glad I didn't get stung. I hate getting stung by a wasp. But we'll take care of them guys. So you can see there's some new wiring under here that I've got to finish up. Goes here and there. I've got an HEI on there. Some General Motors 8mm spark plug wires. I imagine those are just some MSDs with a GM Performance logo on it. Let's get this out of the way. That Demon carb looks like it's humongous, but it's not. It's just a little 500 Street Demon when Demon carburetors still had, was making carburetors. It's just sitting there. I haven't even tried starting it with that. The carburetor I had on here to begin with when I started doing the Vortec head conversion was $100 Quadrajet from AutoZone. Can you imagine going to AutoZone and paying $100 for a Quadrajet? It's like for a 1970 Impala with a 350. It's crazy. And you can probably still go to AutoZone and get that same carburetor for $100. But got some March Performance pulleys go on the alternator and the fan and the crankshaft or the crank hub down there. 283s don't have a harmonic balancer. It's just a crank hub. Nice and clean. You can see the color on this engine bay is pretty. And that's why I was thinking, you know, somebody started to do some kind of restoration on this. The seat covers, which are now starting to peel apart, but somebody took some time and cleaned up this engine bay and put a nice coat of, I don't even know what color that original color is there. It sure is pretty though. And really it would take a lot of work to get this body to where it'd be worth it to spray that color of paint on there. This was probably a very pretty car. Well, what people call this now is patina. And it sure has a lot of patina. I believe that hood or the roof was white when my dad gave this to me, and it's just turned to rust. And I had sanded down the hood and put some etching primer on there, but that only lasts so long. And gotta get all these weeds. And that is one of the most awesome body molding emblems Chevy ever made. Is that airplane on the Impala here for 1960. Nothing else like it. These 1960, all these early 1960 Chevys are all one-of-a-kind cars. One of the things I did, I'm a roadkill fan, was alright, no wasps. Lots of ants. Man, I've got ants everywhere around here. But I've got a checklist. And as you can see, I even started scratching things off. Spark plugs and ignition wires checked off. Carb, check. Bulkhead wiring, check. 4-barrel carb gaskets, check. So what's left? We got to get a dipstick. There's an alternator belt on there, but I don't have it adjusted. Turnover. Gotta make sure this thing isn't locked up. It sat for a long time with no carburetor on it. Finish up some alternator wiring. Of course, put some coolant in it. I said earlier that I put some relays in it for the headlights. You can see they're over there on the inside fender. I've got to finish the grounding wiring for those. And if you're Australian, some earths, silly things. Charge a battery. Need to get a battery. I don't even know what happened to the battery I had in here. Do some with the gas tank. Tighten down the valve cover. Bolts. Create a fuel system. I got gas tank on here. Okay. Here we go. We got some sub check marks: fuel system, gas tank, fuel pump, fuel filter, fuel line. So, and you see this piece of cardboard, it's nice and dry inside here. It's not all wet and moldy and stinky. Smells like an old car, but doesn't smell moldy. Staying relatively dry inside, which is a good thing. But again, this thing, let me see here, some of the rust. Fender there, some rust coming through. Yep. So I think I am going to sand it down. You see some of these spots right here, like this right here. That's I'd like to just feather that down a little bit, just get the rough edge off of that. The rough edges off all these spots. And then either put some clear on it, and just leave it like it is. Put a satin clear. Be pretty much just, won't even be able to tell it's got a clear on it, because it'll probably just look like this. I'm thinking about cutting those the valances here and have the exhaust coming out of the valances instead of from underneath the valances. I think it'd be a nice touch. Look at those wings. Again, nothing else like it. Chevrolet. The 59s are close, but with the cat eye back in, but those wings on a 1960 and those triple lights on the back, nothing like it. I don't know if I'm gonna leave that bumper hitch on there or not. All the chrome is good. All the stainless is good. All the trim is there. Life just got in the way. Kids, coaching, soccer, coaching football, Cub Scouts, family, and you can probably see some of my other projects are in the background, and my son's truck, 89 IROC, 55 Chevy that I inherited from my dad when he passed away. That was in 2011. It was running and driving, and it's just sitting. All it needs is a good wash, get her on the road. And we got the Ranchero I bought 4 years ago, was running and driving then, and the clutch went out. And I've got big plans to do a 5.0 and T5 swap on it. Right now it's got a old tired 302, probably its original engine, and 3 on the tree. I'm gonna swap those out for an Explorer 5.0 and a T5 from a Mustang, and have it as a driver. Really, all these cars I want as a driver. Just got to get them going. So let's get this baby going.